So we'll call the order. Roll call. Mark. Roll call. I think that it's only there's only three of us officially now, right? 'Cause I know you said there's some new commission members, but there's only three official members. Is that true, or like what is the count? Just so I'm grounded.
Yes, that is correct. There's only three members currently. There are two that are, my understanding, have submitted applications and are going through the process. And I don't have a timeline for when they'd be joining us. My best guess would be maybe April.
Okay.
But I have a note to ask them if they'd like to attend the next meeting in March, just as I think that was your suggestion.
Okay.
Just as an observation. Yep. Oh, Leanne.
Okay.
Promote to panelist.
All right. So we'll go to approval of meeting minutes. So I had some notes here because there was a lot of meeting minutes. So I think we'll just kind of go in order. I think there was 4 sets to approve. So we'll kind of go. I think the first one was 11:20 for the meeting minutes. So we'll start with that one. We'll kind of ask any questions from anyone before we move to approval.
No questions.
All right, I'll just make the motions on all these to move to approval, and then we'll just go from there and make it easy. Make a motion to approve 11:20 minutes.
Jim, you'll have to second it because I wrote them.
Okay, I'll second it.
All right. I don't think we need to do it all in favor since you wrote them, but do we need to officially or anything, Mark, or?
Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, I guess just to make it official.
All right, so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. 12:18, I believe, is the next minutes. I'll make a motion to approve them.
No questions here. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mhm.
All right. 1-6 was the next one that I had on my list. I just had one comment I thought that we might want to put in there, just in case citizens are reading it. Hang on. I thought it would be good to put, there was a section in there in C5 in the discussion. It was talking about like, the rate increase. I mean, obviously that's kind of maybe null and void based upon it, but I thought we'd want to put, like it just talks about like a 10% rate increase, but it doesn't really give context to, I think there's some are 10, some are, they're all different percentages. So I don't know if we want to list the logic we like a season pass was this percent increase, the normal greens fee is this. It seems like it's out of context for people that might read it. So I would say we either take it out or we leave it in, but put like detail of like the 3 or 4 different brackets. That would be my only comment. Otherwise, I thought it was I had no comment.
Mike, is this under C discussion or?
Yeah, C discussion number 5, C5.
Five.
Yeah.
It's on the
Okay.
the second page.
Second page, correct, of that.
Okay.
C5.
And
Just, I mean, I'm good with, I did say that we are good there, so I'm not denying that or anything. It just, I think it kind of doesn't bring context to what it is. So I think we list them all or we take it off. Either way is okay with me personally.
I think it
Like-
makes more sense to delete it, Mike,
Okay.
because we have other documents that give detail on the rates.
I agree, but I just wanted to, someone reading it might be like, well, so what? So that was what I was getting at.
Okay, so we'll amend the minutes as noted.
Okay. So I guess what I would just do then is I will make a motion to approve the amended meeting minutes, even though we don't physically see them in front of us. I think we all understand what the amended is. So I'll make that motion.
Jim?
Oh, I'll second.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next one I believe we have is 2-3 minutes. And there was two of these, just before I make a motion. There was one
No,
that
that-
was titled 2-3, one that was titled 1/22 corrected. So I just want to, just so that we're grounded on which one we're going to.
the corrected one, for
Okay.
January 22nd.
So
Oh,
just so everyone's grounded, I don't have any comments. I just wanted to make sure everyone understood what we're voting on. So I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
and this is the 22nd?
Yep.
Okay.
Joint meeting.
Oh, wait.
Mark-
Was that, is that, Elizabeth, were those no, yeah, those are notes, so we don't really need to approve those.
Okay, but what we just voted on were the joint meeting minutes. That's the one that's noted, corrected.
Oh, that one was on the 22nd also?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So the notes, do the notes go in the town record or just for our purposes?
I don't think they do.
Because it wasn't an official meeting about quorum.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
so it's
So
just for
everyone-
the members' reference.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'll just say, anyone have any questions on the notes one then? We'll just leave it at that. All right. The only question I had on the 2-3-1 was we talked a lot about the high value actions, Mark. How do we get feedback of how they're going? Like, I don't need it per se in this, today, but what is the mechanism for the GAB and this council to get feedback, some time period in the future from now on how those are going? Just, that's my only question.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just have to pull that document out and then I'll just check in with everybody, because there was what, 5 or 7 items?
Mm-hmm.
It's in
Okay.
the meeting minutes of February 3rd,
Right.
Oh, okay.
under golf course study discussion.
Oh, okay.
So
I think at the time, I recall, Mike, you had kind of tentatively assigned some things to different people.
I had some, but we never, in my opinion, in that meeting, we never came to what the definitive action was and who really had the ball to run. So I don't know. I didn't get that personally out of that meeting. So I got that we discussed them, but there was no, I have the ball and I'm running with it.
Okay.
Positive, I don't know, confirmation, I
Yep.
should say.
Okay.
Oh,
So you're asking for an update, but it sounds like nobody's really been assigned to it. So I'm not. It would seem to me that somebody needs to get assigned to it before we can start tracking what's happening. Does that make
Sure.
sense?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
What will you do, Mark? You take that back to the GAB or?
Uh,
Some of them might
Yeah,
be
I
just
think-
for your staff, Mark. You can assign out, if they work
Right.
directly for you. So they might not have to go through the commissions either.
right. Yeah, I'll look these over and then figure out who's best suited to take those on. And I can report that back at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Maybe just an update of who's taking them on next meeting, and then, maybe a couple meetings in the future. How do we make out with them? I think that would be a perfect feedback loop. So appreciate it.
So Mike, I think at this point, we need a motion and a vote on these minutes of February 3rd.
All right. So we'll make the February 3rd. I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll second.
Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. We'll go to. I think what we'll do is we'll go to citizen petition comments, and then the golf course stuff, Jim, you want to talk about it when we get down to the reports and golf course? Mark, if you can give us, I think that's what we'll talk that topic there too. So, I did not have any citizens petitions or comments, so we'll go around with the commission members first.
I did
None,
not have it.
me, nope.
All right, Mark.
No, I have not. I received one follow-up from a person who had sent me some previous emails about the golf course fees, but that they were just trying to, essentially, they were reiterating what they had already said.
Okay. All right, town council referrals.
None.
Before we move on
Correspondence.
from there, are we going to discuss the District 4 referral from the town council in old business?
Yeah, I can't remember. Have I sent out a copy of that?
You did. You
Okay.
sent out the Barry Dunn report
Okay.
that you got.
Okay. I couldn't remember. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has any comments. I actually don't have a copy with me.
I don't, but if you want to, Elizabeth, you want to just kind of lead the discussion, I'm good to talk it here. I don't know who should lead the discussion. Maybe I'll start with that too.
Well, I probably am the one who's been kind of bird dogging it because it is an issue. And it's interesting because the findings of the recommendations for Barry Dunn kind of align with the POCD document that we're supposed to respond and fill out. And we also have that memo from Diane Lombosky about the POCD, but which also, if you look at the Barry Dunn recommendations, I think the three are going to be related. I'm not clear what our time frame is for the response to the POCD.
Yeah, I don't know. Mike, you went to that meeting. Do you know when it's due?
They kind of wanted it in like January. So,
Oh.
but like there really wasn't like hey, here's your firm deadline. It was, can you bring this to your next meeting, fill it out and get it back to us?
Okay.
So it sounded like they have to go issue a new POCD sometime this year. I don't really know if they told me. I spaced, to be honest, but I don't think I heard a deadline of it. But it sounds like it's like a state or it's a contractual document or something that the town has to do for some reason. So every certain number of years, and it sounded like they wanted to get some feedback from the commissions as they were doing it to try to make it not just a check in the box item to go do, which it is right now. So that's what I have. Fortunately, I don't have much more.
Yeah, the state requires every community to do one every 10 years. And Groton's is coming up in 2026.
So, I mean, I guess if we don't get through tonight, I don't need to, I'll say I'm not going to sweat it if I don't submit it to the town council or it's not the town council, but like the group by today. I think, if we do it this month and I submit it next month, I think I don't see a problem with that, I'll say.
And I guess my feeling is it's an opportunity for us to lay out a response really to the town council in this structure regarding the charge for D4, for District 4, among other things, but it's a platform for resolving that, I think.
Elizabeth, can you refresh my memory? I don't know what this D4
District
referral
4
was.
is the northwest quadrant of Groton, and because of the Complete Streets project and other initiatives, it was identified as an area that does not have an the kinds of parks and rec facilities that the other quadrants do.
And what's the ask of the council, just so that we can make sure we do our diligence? Is there a certain ask that came out of it for
I think
us?
they were looking for recommendations.
Got it, okay. On like how to develop that, how to get it up to snuff, something of that nature. Thanks.
Do you remember any specifics from the town council referral, Mark?
No, I actually just, under my to-do list, wrote down D4 referral because it's been a while and I honestly don't remember any more details than what you just said, that they were looking for a recommendation.
Well, we had such a delay in getting the report back from Barry Dunn for a variety of reasons that I
Yeah,
think it has kind of fallen off the radar.
right. Yeah, I'll go back and find that council referral and maybe bring it up at the next meeting, just so that we're addressing the questions that they want answered.
Makes sense. Just add it to unfinished business for next meeting. Other stuff on town council referrals from anyone? All right, we'll go to correspondence and communications. I don't have any. We'll just go around the table, Jim.
I don't either.
No,
Okay. Reports. Mark, we'll let you do the director's report.
Okay. Well, it was included in the packet. I don't know if there's any questions regarding the information that's in there. I am pleased to report that our community outreach coordinator has gone through the pre-employment screening, and as of today, her official start date is Monday, March 3rd.
Oh, great.
Yes.
And can you release her name?
Yes. Her name is Denise Sanchez.
Great.
Mark, I had 3 questions. The cop
Yep.
park renovations, it talked about that.
Yes.
What are they? Is that the stuff? I know we did some software looking for like the blind. Is that what those renovations are for? Can you just give us a quick overview of what those renovations
Oh,
are?
yeah. No, the renovations are to continue making improvements to different sections of the trail. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Cop property, but as you first walk in, it's stone dust. You
Yep.
go off to the right, like you're going to the dog park, and it quickly becomes cobbles
Yes, right.
and dirt and whatnot. And so the plan is to work on that section from where it turns into cobble all the way out to the bridge, and then on the other side of the bridge headed towards well, what would that be, the southwest corner. Essentially it's following along the yellow trail, which is like a giant loop.
Okay, so it's smoothing out that trail. That's the scope.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
And then I know we put the well in last year for the dog park. People really appreciate it. I know there was talk of doing some fencing or something else. Has that been done, or is that part of this project?
No, that's a different project, and the challenge we've run into, Mike, is the water quality. We kind of had to put the pipe in order to do a proper test, and we've done the test, and the water quality is such that it's really not recommended for dogs, which is unfortunate.
Is there any solution?
Well, the only, if we were going to, because we did look into trying to filter it, but that would require power, and it ends up getting so complicated that it just doesn't make sense to do.
Do you know,
So-
Mark, like, do they test the one at Bluff Point? because I feel like that's just a straight well to the bottom. Was that one sat,
Uh,
or that one just in there for so long, no one knows whether it's good or bad?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure. I mean, that's a state-run facility, and I don't know if they test the water there or not.
So that
So-
means that none of the water can be used at the cop park for the dogs?
Yeah, the well sleeve that was put in, um, the water from that. So, I mean, I guess we could start digging holes all over the place, but the site that we selected, I mean, we hit water started running at 14 feet, but you know, and then we put the sleeve in, and then we did the water test. But like I said, the water tests were so, and I forget which particular mineral was in the water that I think the recommendation from the folks that tested it was like, yeah, you probably don't want, it wouldn't be advisable to have your dog drinking this.
Got it. So do we just cap it? Like, what is the current status, I guess, of the?
Yeah, it's capped.
Okay, so it was like it was months ago, so to speak.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know. I'll chew on that. I don't have any suggestions at the current moment. There was a talk about movie night in there. What location is that? I know it said you need a projector and things like that, but where's the vision for that?
I'm not sure that a site has been selected yet. Um, I'm guessing that it might be at Paquonic Plains Park. It could be out behind the community center.
Okay, so concept
yeah.
right now, not okay. And then there was talk of the Four Corner Park. Looks like the had been, well, the site had been prepped. There was
Yes.
discussions that there a conceptual plan for that now, or like is that still coming?
No, there is a conceptual plan.
Okay, my question I was going to, if we demoed it and we don't have a conceptual plan, is it going to be a year before anything goes back? So that was really my
Oh yeah, no,
question.
we've it's actually already been delivered. It's sitting up in the transfer station. There's a building up there. It's been there since I think December, and I would expect that it will be installed either in March or April, depending on the contractor's schedule. We ran into a bit of an issue. We had to modify the location just a little bit because we found that there's power to the lights. Well, there's lights at the basketball court, and unfortunately the power line ran underground. It kind of crossed where we had intended to put the playground. So we ended up having to shift it a little bit. But it's all dug out, and we're just waiting for the contractor to notify us when he intends to start installing.
Thanks. Any other commissioners' questions on the report?
Yes, I need a little clarification on that last item. Are you talking about Farquhar Park?
Yes,
Okay.
And
And the equipment is here.
it is. Yes, yes. And the rumors that it's going to be another site for a car wash are not true. Someone had posted on Groton Community Forum or something, what's going on there, and of course somebody said, yeah, they're putting in another car wash.
You do have a lot of them.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move to the golf course. So I don't know if we per se need anything on the report that's in this one, but either Jim or Mark, maybe just give us an update of what went on with the town council last night. Is there any action for us?
Yeah, there will be eventually. They assigned it back to the Golf Advisory Board. And so we're going to have a special meeting with the Golf Advisory Board next month to start over. Essentially, they pooled the council, and the mayor spoke and said that for residents, she would be comfortable with a 5 to 7% increase, and for non-residents, up to a 15% increase. And this is not from the proposed rates. This is from the original. This is from last year's rates.
Okay.
And so I think she used the word reimagine. So she wants us to reimagine season pass rates and greens fee rates.
Okay. Got it.
So yeah, they just felt there was a pretty strong sentiment that because it's a municipal golf course and it's in Groton, and taxpayer dollars have paid a significant amount of the golf course, have paid into a significant amount into the golf course, primarily in CIPs. And I think the town manager had come up with 1.5 million, and I'm not sure over how many years that was. So they felt like the residents should be getting more of a break.
Okay. Floor is open for discussion on this one. If anyone has anything, I'm all set, but floor is open.
Yeah, I just have a few. Hey, I think so we don't get into this again, Mark. I think the Golf Advisory Board should be given some parameters, very specific things for them to vote on, because they were gung ho on fee increases everywhere. Okay. And we don't want to go through that again, because it really wasn't pretty in the meeting. So I will send you my notes, Mark, but for Elizabeth's purposes, right, they made it clear, 5 to 7 for residents, and whatever extra, fees they want to get is they get it from the non-residents. Okay. And they also said they wanted to relook at the increases that far exceed the rates for these special groups, whether it be youth or tournaments. Okay, they didn't necessarily like these rates going up by 30% in some of these other groups. Okay. So I think that's what they should be asked to vote on. Nothing more, nothing less on the fee side. I don't think there's a lot of decisions for them to make on the point of sale system. It was clear the board members wanted a point of sale system in ASAP.
Yep.
Single source award, if that was the way to go, and the town manager said he was going to make that happen, right? That needs to go in 2 weeks. I mean, we're under a lot of pressure here, and it should be made clear to the golf course management. They need to do this like tomorrow, okay? Charging all golfers, and I think that's residents, non-residents, greens fees, annual pass holders, no shows and being late, they get charged, okay? They also wanted the golf course to go back and look into the cost of the course. And I'll editorialize a little bit on that. I think it goes back to what I originally recommended. There should be elimination of any additional full-time hires and no third-party costs, okay? We ought to be able to do more with less with that staff of 5 greenkeepers. They clearly wanted efficiencies from the current staff, okay, without saying it. The town will not be funding any capital improvement anytime soon. And the course needs to start an outreach program. And I assume that's to raise revenue from the bigger employers. The course will not be privatized. They still wanted the current employees in place. They wanted them to be town employees. So it's kind of funny. They wanted everything more or less. They want They wanted, 2/3 to 3/4 of the cost structure to remain intact. And they didn't want big fee increases for the residents. And so there isn't much latitude for the golf course management, other than the rest of the 25% has to be looked at very hard. Okay. So those are my notes, and that's my impressions of what they want. They clearly were not in line with what was voted on by Parks and Rec and the Golf Advisory Board. It was way off. It was almost like, man, they were like thinking, what are you guys thinking? They weren't on the same page whatsoever in any area. Okay. So that's it. I'll send you this, Mark.
Okay.
But I really think that, they were really, really into big fee increases. And they can't be doing that again. They were just put in a box. So they shouldn't even be discussing anything beyond those parameters. That's it. You don't want
And
to
Jim,
go
you
up to the
attended?
town council again, Mark, being outside those parameters. I mean, there's really not much to vote on other than Eric telling us how much in the 10 to 15 or even 20% for non-residents. That's it.
All right. Move on to Trails Coordinating Task Force. Mark?
Yeah, there's been no meeting. We are still working with a consultant on the wayfinding plan. And the bike and pedestrian master plan. There was a public presentation, I think 2 weeks ago. And the presentation to the council is coming up not this Tuesday, the following Tuesday. So in another couple of weeks.
Okay. Athletic fields, Mark?
Yeah, so it was last month that we went to the council and made the presentation. And there is a grassroots effort going on right now by a couple of people in town to continue to attend the council meetings where there's a public to be heard section and have folks speak up on providing their thoughts on primarily support for the findings of the athletic field study. And I think the plan is like there's one council meeting a month where there's public to be heard. And I think the plan is to have participants going to each one of those meetings over the next 4 months to kind of share their thoughts on the athletic field task force findings and speaking in support of moving forward.
And from your perspective, like, so there's a lot of support there. What do you see the path forward as, like, from your position? Like, is the town looking at like the cost, and do you think that that's going to go on to a November vote? I also attended that meeting virtually. What is your thoughts on next steps besides people going and voicing their opinion?
Yeah, I think the big unknown right now is there's been so much chaos coming out of Washington. I guess that's one word to describe it. So trying to figure out what could be coming, and as they go through the current budget process, which the council will start at the end of March, we'll be reviewing budgets. I think they're trying to wait to try to get a picture of what could be coming as far as funding or what might not be available, and then also looking at the municipal side and figuring out those budgets, and then looking at are we in a position, do we feel comfortable enough to move forward, or do we want to wait a year just to see how things look a year from now. That's kind of my sense.
Okay, thank you. And do we have any big projects CIP-wise from the Parks and Rec that we put in for, I guess would be 26? Is there any projects that are above, we'll call it 400K that we asked for that are, made it to the next level around?
No, nothing cumulatively between all the different projects. Yes, it would exceed that, but there's not a singular project that is 400,000.
Okay. But my question was just leading to is now where I kind of reflected after that meeting is we didn't have all the field stuff to support it, but to me it almost sounded like we probably should have spent the money we spent on the skate park towards like the Colchester fields. I feel like the return on investment and value to the town would have been higher in hindsight, although we didn't have maybe all that info to be able to make that decision a year ago. In hindsight, to me, that might have been a better decision for the town, but we can't do anything about it now, even if we wanted to. So kind of water under the bridge, just where my head was going, why I asked the question.
Sure.
Anyone have any questions there? Or not, we'll move on.
Nope.
Unfinished business. I don't think I had anything. Does anyone have anything, or Mark, do you have anything?
No, but I do have a note to put the D4 referral under unfinished business for the next meeting.
Okay, perfect. So new business, election of officers. I don't know how we actually do this, Mark, if there's a format or we just ask or whatever, but over to you.
Yeah, I think it's always been pretty informal. Oh, Leanne has her hand up. Leanne, go ahead.
Think we're okay there. You mentioned wayfarers. That's the signs, correct?
Yes, the wayfinding plan. Yes.
Right. It's not part of your agenda, but I just thought I would ask if you would allow. The one at the intersection of Route 1 and 117, is there any progress to getting that back up?
That's the one that was somebody fell asleep and drove through the intersection, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe there has been progress, Leanne. I saw a conceptual plan from an architect or from a company that's doing the design of the signs, and the sign was going to include. There was actually a more than just replacing that sign. There was going to be some signs going up in other key locations, like one I think at the top of Fort Hill Road where it splits and then goes off to Groton Long Point Road. I think there was going to be a sign up there, and those signs are going to have directional arrows and list some of the, like the one at the top of Fort Hill Road. I think it was going to mention Esker Point Beach with, an arrow pointing down Groton Long Point Road. And I think the sign at that intersection was going to have directional arrows noting where Bluff Point was to the right. I think Pequannock Plains Park and Sutton Park were to the left. And I can't remember. I think there was a couple of other attractions that were going to be listed on those signs. So, and that was probably a couple of months ago that I saw those.
Okay. I was hoping we could get it up at, early spring so we could do the plantings that we have planned to go around there.
Yeah, and I know it's been quite a while since that was 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
That was knocked over. Yeah.
Right.
Mark, does the town, I assume the town gets money from the insurance company, right? Because it's a liability that the insurance company had to pay out for the person that owned the car, correct?
Yeah. I believe so, Mike. I'm not that involved in that particular project, but yes, I know that there was the sign for Esker Point Beach was taken out, and we've been by a driver and we've been following that. They've been going through the court, and the last step that I saw is we were going after the insurance company to recover the money to pay for the replacement of the sign. So I would imagine that same approach was taken for that sign on Route 1 and 117.
Okay.
Thanks. And I wish as a state we would make a law that within 6 months, insurance company has to pay out the town or the state or whatever, right, to replace guardrails on roads and these signs. But separate topic in this meeting. But I wish we would make that expediency, right? Like it would be so much better for the towns. But
yeah,
again,
it's
topic for another day.
I mean, you just look at that one sign at that intersection, and it's been a few years now. Maybe it was settled a while ago. I did hear that
Yeah.
there was, somebody on the council didn't like the colors that we picked, and
Gotcha. Okay.
so anyway, that may have held things up also.
Okay, and just, you've got a lot on your plate, and I don't want to add to it. I swear I'm really not trying to, but you and I had talked a long time ago about getting a sign up, a state sign, when you come off the bridge, saying about our golf course and the fact that it was public. And I don't know if there's anything I could do to help you with that, or...
Yeah, Leanne, I remember that conversation, but it's been a while. My recollection is that we couldn't put a sign on that off ramp, and I don't remember the reason why.
That's all right. You can let me know, when you have a moment, which is hard to find sometimes.
Yeah.
And then if we need to, we got a new state rep, we could make
Oh,
it
there we go.
his first jobs.
Right. Yep.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Sure.
it.
Yep.
Isn't there an attraction sign like on one of them, like the sub museums on it? Can't we just add a sign to that, or an existing sign? One of those like six places.
Is it on the exit that Leanne was speaking to? This has been probably 3 or 4 years, and I remember we did look into it, and they weren't putting signs on that particular off ramp, or there was something that prohibited us from being able to do it, but I don't remember the details.
Leanne, do you know the one that has I don't remember off the top of my head, the sign that has the attractions exit?
Coming over the bridge?
Yeah, I don't know which way it's from, whether it's north or south, but there's an attraction sign that was in the last year or two.
We were talking about having it when you are you going north, because it's a natural turnoff to get to it. And so we were hoping to get something on the overhead that said Shinnecock Golf Course public, open to the public, something like that. The submarine sign, unfortunately, is past the exit. It would still be good. I mean, if we could do something in that area. I think Groton Utilities owns the land up there where the submarine is. But if you want, I could make an inquiry and let you know.
Yeah, what I was really getting at is they're going to be redoing that northbound bridge, right? Like, I don't know, they say they've been doing it forever. I really don't know what they did over last year. They blocked off a lane and it seemed like nothing got done. Kind of ridiculous, but separate topic again. But when they redo that, right, there's going to be signage that goes up, right? They didn't replace the signs on that. If they put an attraction sign, not for us, but for the town, it could be one of the items on it. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. No, it's an excellent idea. Of course, we got to wait to see if there's going to be any money for the bridge.
But yeah, separate topic. But if it becomes part of the plan, whether the plan gets executed this year, 10 years from now, right? It's in the plan. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have a little sign made at the bottom, thought of by Leanne.
No one will take it down. It'll just stay up anyways.
Thank you.
So election, I don't. He said it was informal. I don't mind staying.
Yeah, it's always been kind of
I'm
informal.
doing
and-
now, but
yeah.
I'll let everyone voice their opinion and who wants to do what.
I nominated Mike DeFranco for chair.
Oh, I second that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. For what's it, a year? Every year we do it, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that for this upcoming year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Mike. Congratulations.
No problem.
And then there's also the vice chair and the secretary's position. And I do recall a conversation almost a year ago, or maybe it was 6 months ago, that after I think March or April, Jim was going to take over. Elizabeth agreed to do it for 6 months, and then I think Jim said he would take over. Is that accurate, Elizabeth? Is that?
That's what I remember. I don't know if Jim does.
Oh, I remember it. Well,
Okay.
for the sake of getting along, I'll agree to do it.
Okay. Actually, it's going to be critical because after March, I won't be here for the April meeting.
Okay. I'll sharpen my pencil.
Okay.
Thank
I
you
guess
for your service, Elizabeth. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Jim.
So I guess we'll leave it as we don't have a vice chair unless one of you, unless Elizabeth, you want to become that when you step down from here, or we could leave it open until we get our new members.
Why don't we just leave it open till we get our new members?
Elizabeth, do you want
Unless
to do
there's a
it
problem with that.
as an interim?
Yeah.
How's
So
that?
as of April, I will take on interim. How's that? Or you want me to take it
After
on
April?
now?
Well, I mean, at this point, if somebody wasn't able to attend a meeting, we wouldn't have a quorum and we couldn't have the meeting anyway. So, yeah, I guess we can leave it open because if Mike or Jim couldn't make the next meeting, then we wouldn't have a meeting anyway. And having a vice chair really wouldn't, to run the meeting really wouldn't matter. Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
hopefully by April, we'll have those two new folks on board.
POCD worksheet discussions. So I don't know how we want to do this, right? We're kind of at like 5:50 now for the meeting here, but there was basically 4 questions in here, and to be honest, I haven't looked at them since I picked it up. Did look at it when I went to the original meeting, but it's I don't know if we want to have this discussion as a group here, or if everyone wants to just email me their thoughts and I collate them and send them in. So let me open with that.
Oh, and Elizabeth did point out that there was a letter. Oh shoot! You mentioned
It
her
was
name
in
earlier, and
January.
I've forgotten her name.
I know, I'm looking for it now. I had it a moment ago.
It was quite a bit of
Diane.
detail.
Diane.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she used to work in the planning department and is
I
a
figured
Groton
that,
resident.
Diane Glemboski, Boski.
Yeah.
It was very detailed.
Yes. That's her planner background. Elizabeth, did she break the comments into each of the questions?
No, she was talking
No.
about she broke it into open spaces passive versus open space active, school
Okay.
sites, and spent a lot of time detailing the school sites.
Right. Okay.
Cool. Just my sign check. What is that? The questions and that, how do they correlate? I just, I'm not drawing the tie, just so I get.
What I would do it, and I'm taking you up on your suggestion of, or looking at these materials, both the POCD form and Diane's letter. and, jotting down our thoughts on each of those sections and sending it to you.
Okay.
If you want to collate it, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm good. So can we all just maybe then say by, put a little date string out there by 3/7, everyone sends me their suggestions. I will then, collate them and make sure that by like 3/14, they go back to Mark. And then in our next meeting, we can just go over it and make sure that we have a final one that everyone is good with to submit. Does that sound like a good date string plan?
Works for me.
Sure.
Yeah, and everybody already may know this, but the POCD is available online, just as a reference to look through to, like question 1 says, which aspects of the POCD are useful and why? Taking a look at it may make answering that question a little bit easier.
It's long. They gave me a hard copy. It's
Oh.
some serious reading.
Yes.
I looked at the cover so far. That was it. But I will.
Have
I
you
will
gotten
actually
beyond the
look through
cover?
it. I will look through it when I actually go answer the questions, and I'll take a little
All
time.
right. And I don't know, Mike, is there like an executive summary or?
Let's see. There's a chapter. There's introduction. Says what is the POCD. There's a page on that.
All right.
Introduction. How is it developed? There's some intro pages on it. It looks like
Okay.
there's a map. Then it gets into like the history of the town. So there's some summary, somewhat, not executive summary, but there's some content in the front.
All right. And it is, like I said, it is available on the town website. It's probably under if you went to departments and then went to the planning department, it's probably on the drop-down menu under the planning department.
All right, so I think I'm good. I don't think we need to spend more time on this. Basically, there's 4 questions. Yeah, what is the POCD? What aspects are useful? Why? So, I mean, I don't think any of us, I don't know what it was before I found this out. So as you read through it, I guess you could answer those questions. What tools or resources do make the decision objective for your commission or board? So to me, that's, when we all come to the table, what do we use? What does Mark provide us? That's kind of where I think that question is leading to. Biggest challenges or barriers to achieving objectives in your commissioner board. So everyone will probably have their own take. So I'll collate those takes, right? There may be some trends commonly. And what can the town do in the next 10 years to help your commissioner board make progress, objectives? Mark, do you want to send me thoughts on this yourself too, or do you want just the commissioners to do it? Your call.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly do that. I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't know if they've already interviewed me and asked me a series of questions like 6 months ago.
Okay.
So
they might have your feedback then.
Yeah, they've already got my feedback.
Okay, so we'll just do the commissioners then. I'm good with that.
Okay.
So, all right, so that's good. 3/7 to me, 3/14, Mark, I'll have back to you. You'll have it for the next meeting. You can send out in the packet, and then we'll just go over it in under unfinished business to just make sure that we all kind of like meeting minutes, right? We all agree with what's written, or we can amend it, and then this way I can send it in after the next meeting. So, okay. We'll move to the next. Any questions on the POCD before we move on from this from anyone? Okay, I'd appreciate it too if you guys have it, like the scan-in document might be hard. I'd appreciate if you could just type it to me, first handwrite it, because then I can at least copy and paste it, even if you don't do it in the form that's here, right? You can just type like section 1 in an email to me. You don't have to make it fancy. Just say, question 1, question 2, question 3, and just quick responses to me. Just digitally would be preferred. Appreciate it. Approval of the 25 meeting dates. So I think Mark sent out the meeting dates. Any questions before we vote? All right, I will make a motion to, I guess, proceed with those meeting dates.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. anything else anyone had before we adjourn?
When's the next meeting? March
March
26th.
26th,
6th. What time?
5.
Okay.
And then the one in April, assuming we have a quorum, we've got a couple of new members. That's actually going to be at 4. That's kind of a hybrid. And it would be at Spicer House. Just, we've got some new staff, kind of like we did we did the same thing last year.
Okay.
I think it'll be good. All right, I guess I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting then.
I'll second
I'll
it.
second that.
I think Elizabeth had it first. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you. Good night now.
Night.
Night.
Good night.
And